Lizzy show. I'm so happy you can be here. I want to start, now they call it a Vlogmas, and it's something where people, YouTubers, they post a video every single day until Christmas and they call it Vlogmas. The only problem is I don't actually vlog. I just post random videos with no script, not really any kind of idea. I mean, right now it's like, I mean, you're not actually here, but you're here. So I'm in the past and we're talking in the future. So I'm just gonna be myself and I guess just talk to you like I would talk to you if you were here. So it's Thursday, right? It's the last day of November. If you're in another country, you're already in December 2nd. So Vlogmas, you're already one day into it. But if you're here in America, oh boy, everyone's so happy to get out there and start shopping. Me, I'm the opposite. Wait, I shouldn't say I'm the opposite. I would say I'm not a materialist. Like, my whole thing is, you know how they have these advertisements like, check your credit score. You want good credit because you don't want to live in the basement with your parents. I'm all for, if my parents were alive, I'd be living in the basement right now, saving up all my money. Because realistically, I don't personally, this is just me, I'm not projecting onto anyone else, I don't want a house, I don't want the responsibility, I don't want a mortgage, I don't want to pay taxes, I don't want to fix problems, I don't want it. When my mother owns a house in Staten Island, New York, you know what? We were house poor. I remember one Christmas, we made sugar cookies without the sugar. Correct. And that's a memory. And what's ironic is it's a good memory because, you know, she was house poor. She bought this house, Staten Island, New York, and honestly, the mortgage was only $900 a month, but on a teacher salary, you know, once you pay your mortgage and your bills, you don't have much money for food. Where am I going with this? The whole materialistic thing, if you don't have a house, if you do, congratulations. For me, I don't want to put money down. I don't want to pay, again, I don't feel like it's going to make me live longer or more happier if I have a house. Same thing with the car. I don't need good credit to have a house. You're not going to sucker me, because I don't care about having a house, and I don't care about having a new car. No, I'm going to drive a Scotch-O-Bong to work and to my home. Let everybody think I'm poor. What do I care? I will put tape over the back of that window because it won't go up. The motor broke. I don't care. You know what? I like the cold. It's cold out. It lets a breeze in. Hey, listen. As long as the rain doesn't get in, I'm fine. I'm telling you, like, listen. The most important thing to me is this vehicle I'm in. My body. How long this body will last? I hope it lasts a long time. Fully workable, usable, and young. I want to be a really young 95-year-old. Do you know what I'm saying? Those 95-year-olds that you meet and you're like blown away. I'm sure you've met 95-year-olds who make 60-year-olds look old, right? Because as long as you keep moving physically, I mean, all you have to do is walk. In Japan, that's all they do. They walk an hour a day, that's it. You know what I mean? 98 years old, he's flying a kite on the beach. A loner flying a kite on the beach. You know, what are we doing here? These high-intensity workouts and, you know, people having heart attacks. Not that I'm saying you shouldn't like high-intensity workouts. The point of it is that materialistically, you know, the holidays and Christmas and buying stuff, I remember me and my mom, because we were so low budget, you know what I mean? As a matter of fact, a diet that worked really well, and it could, you know, I mean, you could argue that it doesn't work well because people on the low budget diet usually buy garbage, but when you're really low budget, I mean, sometimes you really have to, you could be low budget and be healthy. Let me tell you how. You buy lentils, you buy some beans, some carrots, you know, make a big pot. You could live off of that for a week. You don't have to eat garbage. You can still make some healthy food with, I mean, listen, the most important thing is having money for food, which is why, again, you're not going to convince me to buy a house. Unless I physically had the money to buy the house, you know what I mean? I'm not going to buy a house. I mean, don't you think it's funny that they'll be like, oh, the average house in America is now $300,000 to $400,000, and that's cheap. That's not cheap. I don't have $400,000, and then by the time you finish paying it, it's gonna be like $800,000 to $1 million. No, I don't think so, because I know I'm not going to do it. Because guess what? When the roof has a leak, who has to pay for it? Me? Oh, guess what? The water heater broke. Now we're flooded in the basement. Who has to fix it? Me? Oh, guess what? There's a problem with the air conditioning. Who's got to fix it? Me? No, not me when I rent. When you rent, which I want to say one more thing. When you live in a small town that nobody wants to live in, that's the secret. You get cheap rents. So, fortunately for me, I lived in New York, brought up in New York, went to school in South Florida, so I already had a lot of experiences and excitement, so I guess I was lucky. I got to enjoy my life and not ever feel bored, but now as an adult, I could work a job, rent an apartment house, have an old Scotiabank car and be fine. Because listen, I'm gonna drive a boat to and from work. Why? Because it's just a piece of metal. It's a people transporter. It transports me to and from work and to buy groceries. That's it, right? I'm not gonna spend a lot of money on a car, a vehicle. I mean, yes, when you see a nice shiny car, it catches your eye, but I'm not spending money on it so I could go to a place. All we're ever going is to another place. I'm gonna tell you the best life growing up in Brooklyn, New York. Now, if you don't know Brooklyn, New York, if you've never heard of Brooklyn, New York, it is the best place you could ever live and die. Will I die there? No. But my grandparents, their brothers and sisters, they all lived and died in Brooklyn, New York and had a great life. And my Aunt Jeannie and Uncle Joe, they lived and died happily in Brooklyn, New York in an apartment. And my Aunt Jean said like this. Her son lives in Staten Island, New York. He's like, Ma, you gotta move to Staten Island so you could be closer to us. She goes, no, I'm not moving to Staten Island. I'm not gonna be in and out of the car, in the car, out of the car. Oh, you gotta get groceries, you forgot the milk? Back in the car. Oh, you gotta pick up the dry cleaning? Back in the car. Oh, you gotta pick up the kids in the car. Me? My earliest memory, 8 years old, on the street. Not literally on the street, but I mean, I lived on 83rd, my grandma lived on 86th. I was walking to 86th Street like every other day to grandma's house, right? I was working at the flower shop, I mean, not really, at 9 years old. You know what I'm saying? We walked to and from school, we were always out. It was amazing. And what's really funny is that growing up in Brooklyn, we all sat on the stoop. Now, if you go anywhere else, they're gonna call it the stairs, but no, we called it the stoop. Everybody was on the stoop. I don't know if people are still on the stoop these days, but I mean, no one, I don't care what time of year it was, we were all out on the stoop, and we would like stoop hop. We'd be an Antoinette stoop, Jenny stoop, Rosie stoop, Carmela stoop, Giovanna stoop. It was the best. Now everybody's inside. Right? Nobody's on stairs or stoop. But anyway, this whole thing that they're trying to brainwash you, have good credit because you don't want to be living in the basement. Actually, I think families should be together and should stay together and save up your money because this life is short and brief. Instead of running away from each other looking to fulfill the dream that isn't really real, just stick with each other unless you're really bored and need to, you know, I mean, I shouldn't say that because I obviously traveled and wasn't always with my mother, but she did move me to Florida and it was too hot and then I left. Anyway, but I do have regrets. I wish I would have spent more time. I should have moved her in sooner. There you go. Moral of the story is you think your parents are gonna live forever. You really do. You really do. You think they're gonna call you forever. You think you're gonna get to ignore them forever when they call, right? Because they call consistently, especially some moms. They're very consistent. And I'm an only child, as my mother's only daughter, only child, obviously, and she would call constantly. And you know, sometimes you ignore, you know, I'm at the gym or I'm busy or whatever. But, so I think people, my advice is everyone should stick together. Why are we all running away from each other? You don't need to own a house. If you do, Have like as many family members living in as possible and save your money, or not just save your money. I think the most important thing is this. Can you go food shopping and just buy whatever you want? Like whatever. You want to get those Honeycrisp apples, you know, they're $4.99 a pound. You don't care, you're getting your Honeycrisp. You want to get that special Kumbaka drink that's delicious, right? That fermented tea. You get it for yourself. It's $12. Okay, you want to get yourself that organic broccoli and cauliflower. Go ahead, get it for yourself. Yeah, good food, supposedly good, supposedly organic. I don't know, they'd be lying to us. It's expensive. You know, I mean, the truth is, even without kids, I mean, I spent a lot of money on food, but food is essential. Let me ask you another question. Would you rather, now, you better answer this question correctly, live in a big, beautiful house that, oh my God, everybody is like, wow, what a beautiful, actually really nobody cares. Wow, what a beautiful house you live in, you know, and if you do, you better have a lot of people coming over so that you can show them your beautiful house and your golden toilet and your golden shower and your extra room that nobody like uses, or food. So let's say you have this beautiful home, but you only had but you couldn't have the food you want. I mean, that's an obvious question, right? It goes towards the value of things. Would you rather food or a big house? I'd rather have an old school house and eat whatever food I want. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I could sacrifice and be like, hey, here's $20,000 on a house. And nobody, first of all, it's not that nobody cares about you. People care about you. But do they really care about what you have? No. Do they really care about what kind of car you drive? No. And if they do you really want to be around that person? No. Let me tell you something. Who are the people that you're most close to before you have a title and status? And it's like, what do you do for a living? No. Title and status. Before that, when you're young, right? When you're young, you're a kid, you're 8, you're 9, you're 10, you're automatically attracted to people you like. You have the same energy, you have fun with. It's not like, well, what do you do for a living? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? You know what I mean? Enough with what do you do? You know, how do you feel? What do you think about? What goes through your head throughout the day? How do you see the world? What is it like to be you? I mean, I will tell you, in my job, working in the medical field, and what I do specifically is I do ultrasound of the heart. So a lot of times, like, here's the patient, right? And I'm like scanning them, like here's the machine and I'm scanning. And I'm around all types of people that really are just wonderful, fantastic human beings of all ages. 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. I mean, I meet 90-year-olds that blow me away. Blow me away. I'm just like, you know, at first you see the age, I'm like 94. I go up, I'm like, Mildred, you're amazing. She's like, call me Millie. I'm like, yeah. She didn't even like her name either. Yeah, Mildred is not gonna make its way back. Sophia did, Mildred, but she was cute. Anyway, so the point of it is, people are so different. Their consciousness, how they think, how they lived their life, right? So it's just constantly filling the void, because when I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and I swear I think there was like 10 girls on the block. So yeah, even though I'm an only child, I don't feel only. I have like so many friends. There was no longing for anything. I mean, my mom, we had this apartment. It had like those railroad rooms. Oh, it was so, I don't even remember ever being inside. We had that old TV that was like that grandma TV. And it was Brooklyn, New York, so you know, when you got up at night to get a drink, you know, the roaches came out, which is one reason I don't love Brooklyn. Was it just that apartment? I don't know, but what's funny is when we lived in Staten Island, I didn't see any roaches, which is ironic because the Staten Island dump is there. See, when I get talking, you see, I'm on a roll here. It's like I'm talking to someone that's not even there, but you're there. I'm sure you're thinking, right? You're thinking about what I'm saying. So anyway, getting back to this time of year, and consuming and filling the void. You know, we all, as human beings, it's very interesting. It's interesting because there's a constant need for something, right? Or maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm speaking vaguely or broadly about everyone. But everyone has a need. Like, you get up and you go to work, why? You get up to make money, why? I mean, we know why, but essentially, why do we choose careers and paths, and why do we have friends or we don't have friends, or why do we choose to do anything? Like, why? You ever say to yourself, why do I choose to do anything? Like, we get on autopilot, right? Or what makes us not like happy, like a sick person, like, oh my God, I'm so happy, just content, fulfilled, right? Because realistically, the second point I want to make is that the thing, again, I'll speak for myself, that is most important to me, begins with an A, is appreciation. When I'm appreciated, I mean, forget about that you're paying me, forget about it's my job. Like, there's these girls at work, they thank me, I think like 10 times. They even thank me the next day after I do something, like helping lift a patient. So there's one patient, nuclear medicine, you gotta help like lift the patient up and down and on and off the bed, right? They were thanking me and thanking me. I'm like, my God, I'm on cloud 9. Now for me, I don't know for you, but I would say for most people, appreciation, it like fills you up, like I'm overfloweth, right? So appreciation, it's my favorite. So I would say to not worry so much about getting anyone anything or buying yourself anything to fill a void. The most important thing is nourishing food, good food that you like, that you know is gonna keep this temple that you're in as healthy and as a vital for as long as possible. Because that's the most important thing. I don't care how nice your car is. It's a car, it's outside of you, it's an extension of you, right? If you disappear tomorrow, that thing's just sitting there, you know, on to the next owner. This thing that you're in, this vehicle, that's all that matters. It holds your mind. You know what else I find ironic? Stephen Hawkins, right? He was brilliant. And ironically, he only had his mind. His whole body shut down. And I found that to be quite ironic, how society tends to admire people that are just beautiful by default, by luck, through good genetics. I mean, because we're all here through the good luck of everyone who made it before us, right? So a lot of stuff was based on, you know, beauty and passing along one's genes. But today, it's to the point where, you know, beauty, it's nice. It's nice to look at a pretty face, a good-looking face, but, you know, everything fades. And when you look at someone who's 80 years old and you see who they are, or a 90-year-old and you see who they are, it's like, who are you? Are you just like what you look like? Are you just like your butt? Are you just like, you're really like this thing? Keep it healthy. You don't have to be, there's no such thing as perfect. You are perfect. You know, you're trillions of cells in your body doing a job without you paying it, without you even having to say please and thank you, work for you every day. Do you see a battery pack in my back? No. It's called life, right? You're alive. It's a mystery. No one can figure it out. Nobody understands consciousness. Nobody. Even anesthesiologists, I try to have deep conversations with them. I'm like, hey, you ever think about consciousness? No, they don't know. They just pump people to sleep. Not all of them, but we don't understand it, right? But to think that all life, like if you really, it blows you away to think that you exist. Like you exist. You have a consciousness going through your eyes, your brain, your body. Where does it exist? It's phenomenal. It's amazing. And I believe everything has a consciousness. That's what I believe. That's what I know. And what's fascinating is all life is incredible. For example, if worms were to disappear, people would be gone, you and me, within a year and a half. Gone. Worms gone, you gone. Ah. Next time someone calls you a worm, that's a high compliment. Because without worms, people aren't here after a year and a half. That's crazy. Let's talk about size and strength. The bigger you are, the stronger you are. You ever heard of a dung beetle? I know you've heard of a dung beetle. I'm sure you've seen many cute little cartoons of the dung beetle burying poop into the ground. A dung beetle buries 250 times its weight in dung into the ground every single day. Does it have a Lamborghini? Is it paying a mortgage? Is it saying, look at me, look how special successful I am, it's glute day? No. But because of the dung beetles, life and the ecosystem works. Me, couldn't do it. Couldn't bury 250 times my weight in dung every day into the earth. No. So let's appreciate how fantastic existence is. How every little thing plays a role in the magic of life. And you don't need a big house, you don't need a new car. An old scotch-o-bong works. And the most important thing is that you feel good and you make other people feel good. Heck, even if you feel bad, make someone else feel good, you'll start feeling good. It's quite the trip, right? Woo, that's right. You don't feel good, you're in a bad mood? Listen, there's always someone who has it worse than you. You don't know other people's story. But, again, there are people who have bad stories and they have a smile on their face and light shines out of them that I'm like blown away. Again, oh, video's over.